Okay, so what we're really doing today is we're trying to use some trigonometric identities to simplify some things. And right now your primary identity is that sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. And I think the problem sets here, you're going to be exclusively using this, which means, of course, that cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x, or cosine x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus sine squared x, depending on what quadrant you're in. We have some similar identities, but you can see where I'm just manipulating this. This is from your problem set, or one like it. They want us to see if we can clean this up. And this could get messy. Let's see. I haven't done this. I have no idea what this is. So this could be terribly exciting. First off, anytime you're doing this, write everything in terms of sine and cosine right away. Okay, so this is going to be 1 minus sine squared x divided by cosine squared x divided by 1 plus sine squared x over cosine squared x plus 2 sine squared x. And I've already just seen, I've written so large I'm going to run out of board. Okay. What am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to combine everything. I'm going to multiply the top. Remember, 1 is really 1 divided by 1. I'm going to multiply the top by cosine and the bottom by cosine. And I'm really going to, 1 is cosine x over cosine x. Oops, cosine squared x, that is. Is that green coming through? Is that okay? So let me, once again, I'll show you here. I want a common denominator. I got cosine squared x. So 1 is cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x. Now, we have cosine squared x on the bottom, so this is, I'll go to blue, and I guess I'll have to move it up this way. So this becomes cosine squared x minus sine squared x. So this is cosine squared x minus sine squared x divided by cosine squared x. And then the bottom fraction is going to be cosine squared x plus sine squared x divided by cosine squared x. This is cosine squared x plus sine squared x divided by cosine squared x. And this bit right here, this was our first translation, so here's where we started. This was the first thing to do, and we're here. And now, because I wrote so big, I'm going to have to erase this to continue the derivation. And I almost forgot, so we weren't quite done yet. Remember, we had plus, what was it, sine squared x, or no, plus 2 sine squared x? From the original. And let me look and make sure that that was right. Yeah, okay. So actually, let me write what the original was. It was 1 minus tangent squared x divided by 1 plus tangent squared x plus 2 sine squared x. This was the original. After manipulation, this is what we got. I have a fraction on top, a fraction in the bottom. Remember, division by fractions is the same as multiplication by the reciprocal. This bit right here is the same as cosine squared x minus sine squared x divided by cosine squared x times this upside down. And this is just your usual division by fractions. So this is going to be cosine squared x over cosine squared x plus sine squared x. And then, of course, we still have this laying about. And I'm going to erase this. Well, wait, I'll put it so you can still see this. People go crazy if you erase too fast, and I understand. So, at this point, we are right here. Now, let's clean up a little bit. Actually, somebody's probably saying, they're going, hey, cosine cosine squared plus sine squared is 1, right? Just make that 1. So first I'm going to do this. I'm going to cancel these out. And you're right, this is 1. This is equal to 1. So what am I going to have? I have cosine squared x minus sine squared x. The cosines canceled, so there's a 1 on top here, 1 down there. I won't write them in because we're just multiplying by 1, and there's 1 on the bottom. So this is just this times 1, which is itself. So now we have this plus 2 sine squared x. And I actually just heard myself doing this, and I bet I just confused the bejesus out of several of you. So we'll tighten it up a little bit. At this point, I have cosine squared x minus sine squared x plus 2 sine squared x. This takes off one of these. We have cosine squared x plus sine squared x. This is just equal to 1. So this whole thing was equal to 1. Now, let me show you briefly again what I did here to clean this up. And right now you're probably going, hey, there's a fair bit of work there. And yeah, you're right. And it gets more intense than this. Let's take this. So we have cosine squared x minus sine squared x over cosine squared x times cosine squared x. And this was cosine squared x plus sine squared x. This is 1. This is where that 1 came from. And then we have this plus 2 sine squared x. Okay, here's what happened. I got cosine squared x on the bottom, cosine squared x on the top. These just cancel. There's a 1 there. We leave a 1 by, but I don't write in the 1. So all that is left, and remember, we're multiplying fractions. This top is considered one thing. It probably would have been better to put parentheses around here. Actually, I should. When I see a fraction, if you have this, something on top, the top is automatically considered in parentheses no matter what, right? Because it's one thing on this fraction. I guess I'll do my best to make sure I put parentheses around things because this is important anyway. Now, as I was just saying, then we're really multiplying, dividing by 1. We have cosine squared x minus sine squared x plus 2 sine squared x. Well, here's 2 minus 1. This becomes cosine squared x plus sine squared x. And this, of course, is equal to 1. If somebody tells you that 0 is less than or equal to t is less than or equal to pi over 2, right away I hope this calls out to you first quadrant. But if I say, here's what's going to happen in calculus. They're going to say that the sine of t is equal to x squared. And right away, obviously this is calculus, which aren't there, but here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to draw this picture, the right triangle, and you're going to say that sine of t is x squared. Well, what is sine? It's this divided by this, so this is x squared. This is 1. Then we know that x is equal to r squared minus y squared square root, plus or minus, but it's in the first quadrant, so it's plus. That'll be 1 squared minus this squared. This is 1 minus x to the 4th, which is, remember, x squared is x to the 4th square root. So here's t. In calculus, one of the ways that you're going to use trigonometry quite a bit is exactly this. You're going to come up with an answer. It's going to say sine t is this. So what is cosine t? And cosine t is going to be this. This divided by this, which is just 1 minus x to the 4th square root. You can count on some of your instructors using this video to give you test questions like this. If I happen to be the instructor, I will, because I think these are important questions. Now, it's the greatest time ever because I get to go have lunch. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.